we're going to use 3 different types of visual indicators. We'll use a hand every time I tap. Every time I hit a button on the outside of the device, we'll give you an icon, and we'll use arrows to help point out key information on screen. So let's see guided access in action. The first thing I'm going to do is find an app to show you how this works. So this is a 1-button app, and when I touch the button, it makes a noise. I'll show you. I'll tap on the button right now. Radical. And you can see it made that noise. It says the word radical. So probably the most exciting feature on guided access is the ability to shut off the home button. I'll show you an example of when the home button's not shut off. In this case, I haven't turned on guided access yet, and so when I tap the home button, which I'm going to do right now, it takes me back to the home screen. Let's get back in the application. So if I want to disable that feature, I need to turn on guided access. Now there are other ways of disabling this feature, like putting a physical barrier over the home button, piece of foam core or a bub cap or a plastic plate, or I've also seen cases that have a slider switch that covers the home button. So this is a way of doing it via software versus hardware. So let me show you how to do that. First thing I need to do is to turn guided access on for the application, and in order to do that, I triple tap on the home button. So 1, 2, 3, and it launches the guided access menu. In the lower left-hand corner is the hardware button, and as you can see, it is always off. One of the primary features of guided access is when it's activated, it automatically turns off the home button. So let me show you how that works. So I need to start guided access, and in the upper right-hand corner, I tap on the start button, and you can see by the pop-up, guided access is now turned on. If I tap on the home button, let me show you what happens. So I'm going to tap on the home button, and I get a menu that says guided access is enabled. Triple tap to exit. So if I tap, I'm going to now double tap. Again, I get the same menu. I have to triple tap. So now I've just triple tapped. And now this is where the passcode comes into play. This is why you have to set a passcode. Otherwise, you couldn't get into the menu, get past this point. So let me type in our password. So that's how the guided access prevents you, turns off the home button. Guided access also does 2 other really great things. The first thing that it does is it turns off certain sensors. So if you have applications that you want to turn off the entire screen, let's say it's a music app that reacts to the motion sensor, and you want to turn off the screen to prevent users from doing other things with it, then you can tap on the touch, and you can see now the screen is grayed out. So if I hit resume, let's do that. I'll hit resume, and if I tap anywhere, which I'm doing on the screen right now, I'm tapping all over the screen and the button isn't being activated. So that's how to turn the whole screen off. Tap 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and now add my passcode. Now I'm back in the system. I'm going to turn touch back on, and that's simply by touching the on-off button. By tapping the on-off button, it'll turn back on. And I can also turn off the motion sensor. So this would be an example. Let's say you have an application that, like an Etch-a-Sketch, it's a drawing application that erases itself or plays something or does something with the motion sensor. You can turn that off as well. I'm not going to demonstrate it here, but you get the idea. So the third and final feature of guided access that everyone is excited about is the ability to turn off portions of the screen. So how would you turn off portions of the screen? And the way you do that is by drawing. So in this guided access area, you draw where you want the screen to be turned off. So I'll show you a couple of different shapes you can draw. So I can draw a square, I can draw a circle, and I can draw a long rectangle. You can also, as you can see here, draw unusual shapes as well. So I'm going to exit that. So let's say I was trying to draw around this area there. So you can see that it will do, sometimes it does unusual shapes, sometimes it doesn't. But let's say, for the sake of this demonstration, I just want to turn off the radical button. Let's say there were other buttons as an example. So I'm going to just draw myself a circle, then bring it using my finger, and tap and slide it over, and then I'm going to tap and hold on one of the handles and just draw this out to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to exit out of that small one. So you can see here I've only turned off a portion of the screen. Now, where this is really exciting is those little setup buttons in the corner, or those buttons that launch out other applications because they always want you to buy more stuff. You can turn all those off. What's very, very cool about guided access is this is saved on a per application basis. So you can go through and set these all up in advance, and then it's turned off per application. So these hotspots are per application. So let me show you this. So I'm going to hit resume to activate the app, and you can now see that in that circled area, the app is deactive. And I'm going to touch it. I've just touched it. You can't see me touching it, but I just touched it a couple times, and it does not trigger the radical button. So that is the key features of guided access. There's one last feature I want to show you, and that is what happens if you try and put the wrong passcode in. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to put in the wrong passcode, and look at what happens. For 10 seconds, I'm locked out. Now, this is interesting, because what if you have a user that just sits there every 10 seconds and keeps trying to type in passwords to defeat your code? I'm going to do it again, and now I'm locked out for 60 seconds. So that's very interesting. I thought that was interesting. So it was a way of keeping people from fixating on the button and sort of managing that process. I can also think for some users that they'd be very, very frustrated, and that might be a cause of great dissatisfaction. So you may have to manage that a little bit with your user. For more information, go to iPadsForSpecialNeedsBook.com, where you'll find more videos, other resources like cheat sheets, and a book on how to use the iPad for your special needs user.